This is Halloween. This is Halloween.
Halloween,
This
Halloween, Halloween. What's going on, everybody?
Yeah.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. If you're watching this before Halloween, happy Halloween week. If you're watching during, wow, good for you. It's very festive of you. And if you're watching it after, well, there you go.
This is the time where we break out all the candy and costumes and celebrate Halloween, at least in the United States. We're here to talk about this on our first podcast. We're doing podcasts now.
Heck yeah, bomb.
Practicing some English with you guys, listening comprehension, sure. Culture, of course. Language, definitely. And hopefully you'll learn about our experiences with Halloween, and we can compare and see how this is portrayed on TV and movies and all that stuff. You know, a lot of it probably is true, but we just want to share our experience with you, and we'll get right into it.
Yeah, we're excited. We're super excited. Again, my name's Dustin. This is Ruben, and this is Speaking Hacks, where we teach both English pronunciation, Spanish pronunciation. And well, what is Halloween, Mr. Ruben? What is Halloween? Tell the people.
Into our immersive conversation mode.
There you go. Hey, man.
So
what's up?
Let's talk about Halloween. Just for those of you who don't know, some people celebrate Halloween in their countries too. We always have it on the same date every year. That's October 31st. Can't forget that one. Last day of October. We did a little research before coming to our lesson today, our talk today. And according to history.com, we actually found out a few more things about it. In particular, it originated with a Celtic festival of Samhain. Anyone's interested in old Celtic festivals. And people would light fires and they would wear costumes and basically try to ward off or remove the environment of ghosts. So that was when that was happening. Eventually you get this All Saints Day, which was created by a Pope Gregory III, and then turned into the night before All Hallows Eve. Fast forward to people calling it Halloween, and now we get this combination of basically trick-or-treating, which you guys might know, going door to door with bags, looking for candy, dressing up in different costumes, and even carving jack-o'-lanterns, or pumpkins, essentially, and just eating candy until we pass out, right? Isn't that how it goes?
Yeah, Halloween is candy for me, that's for sure. Halloween is supposed to be, scary, but it's definitely candy. I mean, any kid, when Halloween's coming up, it's like, yeah, I get to dress like my favorite, cartoon character that I watch, and I also get to eat tons of candy, and I get to run around with my friends and like fill up a huge, bucket or sometimes pillowcase. That actually didn't happen until later for me. At first, I wasn't like the pillowcase kind of guy, but then later I would go. And I had some friends, man, they were marathon trick-or-treaters. They would go until their pillowcases were filled to the brim. It was crazy, man. So much candy. Unreal.
Yeah, that was currency back then. Around this time, candy. Oh my goodness. Well, we'll talk about all the traditions, the things that we wanted to, that we got out of it as kids, and maybe it was different from our different places growing up in the U.S. But I'm curious to hear, what you feel is the kind of connection between now. We know where the history is, but what it is for Americans, what it kind of generally represents, and what we feel when it comes to this time of year in October.
Yeah, I mean, I'll speak a little bit from a personal perspective, and also kind of like just an opinion. Like anything, United States is just a production, a big production. When there's an event happening in the United States, they go all out, and Halloween is one of those. it's so funny. I mean, you start to see this in the rest of the world now, but you'll see, these massive stores starting to sell like pumpkins and Halloween costumes, etc. Like a couple months before. There are people that plan their costumes like a year in advance. There are some people who have several costumes to wear because they know they're going to go to several Halloween events. It is a huge commercialized thing, but it's really, really fun. People will take the costume wearing to an extreme, some not so much. And obviously for kids, it's candy, it's being scared, it's scaring others. And it was always like really, really good times. It also means that it's cold. It's cold outside. Halloween is cold, and I also associate it. I was gonna say también. I also associate it with like football, American football season a little bit. That kind of leans more towards Thanksgiving, but yeah, it's extremely commercialized now, and it's still good times, man. I kind of celebrate Halloween. There are events. I'm gonna go to a Halloween event. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
So it's kind of different when you go from childhood to adulthood, how you celebrate it. But it seems like most families would have decorations maybe inside their house, sometimes outside their house. Fake spider webs, like cotton stretched out, fake spiders. Basically like the basic idea of like Christmas decorations, but for Halloween. Any icons, any witches, ghosts, pumpkins, or black cats, you see everywhere. Plastic, inflatable. So it's a thing that's big, but something that's kind of tied to our childhood. So I'm gonna also, just because for different questions, just keep it fun, I'm gonna switch to a different costume real quick as we flop here. Got my switches ready to go.
Nicely done. The Mad Hatter with the tag still on it.
We're still trying it out. We got a couple of options here. So like childhood, speaking of multiple costumes per Halloween, childhood was probably not a time where we did that much. But
no.
Man, growing up in the US doing Halloween, what was it like for you? So you grew up in Atlanta, outside Atlanta?
Yeah, I grew up outside Atlanta. When you I guess it was always an exciting thing in my house. I mean, pumpkin carving for sure happened. I remember it was always super, super exciting, and my parents were excited for us, my sister and I. And we would for sure, as a family, carve pumpkins together. And a thing that my family did, and I think a lot of families do this, but not all, is you scrape out, like when you're carving the pumpkin, you have to scrape out all the kind of like the guts of the pumpkin. And we would take the seeds and we would like lay them out on a massive pan and then cook them in the oven, and cook the pumpkin seeds, and then put some like salt and spices, etc., and have those to eat as well. But other than that, it was just so exciting to go door to door and like be like, trick or treat, and they give you candy, and it was extremely, extremely exciting. And especially going with several friends, and then their parents would come, and our parents would hang out. And my dad actually had a truck, and so he would pile all the kids and everyone into the back of the truck, and we would just ride slowly through neighborhoods, jump out, and then and go to the houses and get the candy, and then come back. Oh man, really, really good times. What about yourself?
Yeah, it was the same for a lot of that. We didn't do as much roasting of seeds as a kid. I do that now. That's fun. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that stands out to me, I lived in Michigan, and that talk about cold around October 31st. It was always like you could wear your costume, but sometimes, maybe most years, you had to wear a jacket over your costume. So you have like a mask, maybe, and then like like a Columbia jacket or like like whatever, like a
That's
ski
funny.
jacket, and then like the lower part of your body having whatever the remnants of the costume was. So I think it's George Jetson with that with the face, but I can't tell.
That's
Um,
funny. That wasn't a reality for us, just because being from the southeast, it's a little bit warmer. It was cold for us. For you
yeah,
guys would have been like super warm. So we got to flaunt our costumes.
yeah. It was always cold. It wasn't like snowy. It was just raining. It was often raining too, so cold and rainy. But didn't stop us from getting out onto the streets. And I mean, luckily we lived in a kind of suburban neighborhood, which was you could go next door. Our parents had candy bowls for the neighbors. It was pretty like stereotypical, like going in our neighborhood. But we would even go to multiple subdivisions, as we call them, and
Yeah.
just rack it up till like you said, the pillowcase gets full. You get a spare pillowcase in the back. But yeah, your kids, your
So
parents
much
are driving up
candy.
next to you, you know.
Yeah, we had a little candy bowl. So after Halloween, we just had like we would take our pillowcase. Sometimes mom would be like, "No, like I'm gonna control the candy. Like you can't just like be eating candy all day and all night." And she would just fill the candy bowl. So every day before school or after school, I would just grab a piece of candy like out of the massive candy bowl. We would have candy forever.
Breakfast, snack, Reese's, Skittles,
Yeah.
different types. Man, well, I'm thinking about that too. Thinking about the candy types. There probably is different candy from different countries. People might be interested to know which candy you did get growing up. Is it the same as candy now? What were the faves? What would you say are like your top 3 or 5 candy treats, tricks?
I would say for me was like the little like Reese's cups. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was just so addicted to those. Reese's peanut butter cups. I would just eat those forever. Little Snickers bars as well, like the tiny Snickers, bite-sized Snickers bars.
Sneakers.
Technique, yeah. Uh, what else? There were some there was like some uh chewy sweet tarts, not the
Ooh,
hard ones, but the like chewy ones. I
sweet.
loved those. Loved those. Sometimes the sour candy worms as well. Oh, me
Mm,
encantado. Love
that's
those
that's
so
a
much.
rarity. Sour candy worms for Halloween. Nicely done, Atlanta.
Yeah. We would get a variety. We would go to like tons of neighborhoods, and that actually reminds me is this is the classic, but sometimes trick or treating would go. I mean, eventually the person who has candy at their house has to be like, okay, I'm going to bed now, and they kind of have to make a choice. They either just shut their door and take the candy and go inside,
Right.
or they know that there's going to be some late trick-or-treaters, and so they put out like a little like bowl or bucket and says like, please just take one, like trick or like happy Halloween. And like of course my friends and I would like run up to those and just dump the whole bowl into our pillowcase.
That's it.
uh
That's
those,
it.
those are always really, really fun.
Don't trust a
Good
10-year
times.
old with candy, unlimited candy options. That's a lesson, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
What were some notable costumes that you went as a kid? Anything that stood out?
Man, I just remember being like a little bat, had a cape and vampire bat. And I remember the little red capsules that was just like a powdered capsule that you had to just kind of like mix with water or like your saliva and like painting it on your face. And I remember just being like, oh my, like kind of it was kind of weird for a kid to be kind of like making fake blood. Of course, just the vampire inserts, that you put into your mouth, and you can just go and see yourself in the mirror.
Oh yeah.
You know, um, other than that, I never like as a kid. My best costumes were for sure as an adult, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, if we can slide this in, I want to add the candy to the candy thing, and I'll tell you about the costumes now. We'll go from young to old, some of the best ofs. you got to give some respect and some shout outs to some of these candies that still have been true and tested over the course of our lives. But the peanut butter cups
Like,
and Reese's are top for sure. Controversial are Milk Duds, the stickiness of them, caramel with the chocolate on the outside. But ooh, for a sugary switch, for a switcheroo, nerd, little nerds.
oh, nerds were good. Oh, I love nerds,
They
man.
had like
Those
nerds.
are always really
Some
good.
people had like the mini nerds ropes. Oh my goodness, where it was like a
Mm.
licorice Twizzler, but like with nerds on it somehow melted.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that we were kind of afraid of. You ever, the ones that maybe people haven't heard of, like Bit O Honey, or sometimes Whoppers. People didn't like.
Oh, yeah, I remember Whoppers. Yeah, I wasn't like a big fan of those. Bit of
Milk,
honey, I don't recognize.
Musketeers.
Three Musketeers, I remember. I remember Paydays. I love Paydays. I was a fan of those.
Paydays are all right.
Um,
Three Musketeers and Milky Way without any peanuts or any crunch or any substance. No wafer, no Kit Kats.
oh yeah, Kit Kats, of course.
And Skittles.
What you were gonna say? You didn't like them?
No, I liked them all. Most of the things I just said I liked. It's just the Bit O Honeys and the old O Henry. I don't know, some things from like the 20s, 1920s. It's funny that we're in the 20s now, but the 1920s, I wasn't a part of that, and so it seems to be like. But anyway, candy was the thing. Costumes for me, Big was a hockey player. I was that many years.
Nice.
Just had the equipment and wanted to wear my stuff, especially the cage mask. It was warm for the cold days.
Oh yeah, it made sense.
Ninja Turtles at least twice.
Mm.
And it was just fun in schools. You go to school with the costume, and so it had to be like appropriate for school too. And I would like I would get so excited to put my like shin guards on in my hockey pants before I went to school. That was nuts.
Nice.
So
I have to admit, inspired by Halloween, this was a costume of mine, which, by the way, I'll reveal now.
please, yes.
¿Qué haces, boludo?
Oh no, baby.
Escúchame, ¿qué estás haciendo acá? This actually is this wig has stood the test of time. I've owned this since like 2011. And this is my Facundo wig, the wig I used to pretend to do my Argentine character, Facundo. But I actually originally bought this to be Justin Bieber at a Halloween party. And then, after that, I was trying to figure out how I could, make YouTube videos and become this Argentine character. And I was like, oh, I'll take the Justin Bieber wig. Here we are.
And look at you now. Look at you now.
And look at me now, man.
Did good, son. Well, it's definitely been a thing through our lives as we get to become adults. We're still wearing wigs and hats and actually probably getting more creative with it and going to different types of parties, getting intensely into it and having money to spend on our own stuff. And what do you think's changed the most as an adult from when you were a kid?
I would just say I no longer care so much about candy. I think that's mostly me, just because I don't know, I would consume candy, but I was never some kids go crazy over it and parents have to really, really hide the candy and everything. And for me, it's not that. It's it's more kind of like switching to, how can I express myself with an interesting costume? If it is that there's a Halloween event that I'm going to go to, like what's trending, what's different, how can I express myself, be funny, have a good time? And that's about it. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's more about the freedom to do what we want, which is having another reason to celebrate with friends and going out to bigger parties, not necessarily these last couple of years, but to be able to celebrate and this kind of festive Halloween type of event where people are getting dressed up. And it's that costume thing, just the costumes as an adult makes us feel like kids. I think that's the best part. It's that there's a connection there where we're all just like partying. And surely there are costume parties outside of Halloween for some people, but it's that tradition. You can count on that every year on the 31st, and it's awesome. Even this year, it falls on a weekend. When it falls, holiday, it hits that Saturday, even Thursday through Sunday. It's going to be a raucous 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, and sometimes, I mean, because it's so commercialized, you'll find like clubs or parties, or they'll do it the weekend before or after or midweek, or people go crazy over their Halloween in the States, and it's such a good time. And like you said, like, and this kind of reminds me of a Halloween party, a costume party in Argentina I went to, which they get like 60,000-70,000 people who go every year. It's like la noche donde puedes ser lo que siempre quisiste ser, right? For Halloween. And I thought that was cool. So yeah, Halloween for us is good times. It's positive vibes, candy, and it's definitely American, estadounidense tradition.
Yeah. I noticed one thing before we wrap up our call for today, our talk for today, is that you say Halloween often instead of Halloween.
Halloween.
Where is the stress in this word? Is there a
Halloween? What are you gonna be for Halloween?
Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Halloween. Hey, Kat. What would you be for Halloween? I would definitely stress the ween, but hey, this is also a difference.
This is the region.
Our here accents. But Halloween, however you say it, it's coming up. Happy Halloween to everybody. Hope you got a little taste of what it's like to be an American celebrating Halloween. It's what you probably thought, right? But we will.
Yeah, it's definitely good times though. As it starts to kind of creep into other cultures, I think, the drive is the kids, just let the kids have fun, go around, get some candy. Sometimes people look at it as like, no, I'm not going to adopt this, but it's a good time. And that I think is your best costume ever.
It's true. So we wish you guys a happy Halloween. Hey, let us know if you want us to talk about something else related to American culture.
Yeah.
Language.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below. We are reading all of your comments, and we're excited to continue to kind of give you guys more anecdotes from our culture.
Yes.
Share it with the world.
So, happy Halloween. See you all very
Take care.